The first 2 weeks of Donald Trump's new administration have been defined by its cruelty, its incompetence, its chaos. It has been an absolute disaster. Every reversal of policy, every new executive order causing more and more pain for more and more of the American people. So much so, it's been so corrupt, it's been so criminal, that even Republican members of Congress are beginning to speak out against Donald Trump, calling out what a catastrophe this administration is, one that they promised was going to be better than ever, one that the mainstream media told you was going to be different. Donald Trump was going to be more presidential, this lie that they repeat again and again, and always turns out not to be true, because of course it isn't. And Republicans, like I said, are now calling it out, and we are going to get into that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me now. Of course, one of the things that has marked the chaos of Donald Trump's administration are his cabinet nominees. And I want to get into the hearing of one of those nominees, really, that has set the tone for how bad these past couple of days have been, with Rachel Maddow responding to RFK Jr.
Three of the most controversial, most ostentatiously unqualified, sort of the most trolling choices Trump has made for his cabinet, three of them all had hearings on the same day at the same time today. At the first of his two confirmation hearings yesterday, Trump's health secretary nominee, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., seemed to not understand what Medicaid is, even though Medicaid insures roughly a fifth of all Americans and would be among the 13 federal health agencies he would be overseeing if he was confirmed. He also suggested that Americans have so many babies that most of the humans born on Earth in any given year are babies that are born in the United States. The United States, for the record, has roughly 4% of the Earth's population. So I don't know. How'd things go at Mr. Kennedy's second hearing today?
You said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that to particular antigens that blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that blacks need fewer antigens.
A series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that led to some people thinking that maybe Mr. Kennedy was talking to the country of Poland, studies from Poland. In fact, he seems to have been referring to one single study by a Dr. Poland, Gregory Poland, MD. In fact, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made a whole anti-vaccine film targeting black people using that one study from Dr. Poland. But poor Dr. Poland, for years, has been telling anybody who will listen that RFK Jr. is completely, totally wrong about his work. Dr. Poland says RFK is wildly misrepresenting his research. Dr. Poland says, quote, "We do not have a study that shows African Americans need half the vaccine dose. We do not have a study that shows African American children are being overdosed. And please, for the love of God, stop citing my work in your weird anti-vaccine race science theories. Get my name out of your mouth." Senator Alsobrooks told Robert F. Kennedy Jr. today that his assertions are dangerous, that she'll be voting against his nomination.
RFK Jr. is an insane radical. This is someone who would deeply harm our country if he was confirmed to this position. RFK Jr. is a hack for his agenda. He does not care about health, wellness, safety. He wants to push his conspiracies. He is not just asking questions. I think one of the most important statements that was made yesterday was a senator who said RFK's obsession with trying to pick apart already proved. Science is not helping us move forward. It's keeping us in the past. He's not only doing damage to what has already been proven, what has already been studied, but keeping us from moving forward, studying more ways to keep people safe, keep people healthy. It's shameful. And it is the defining aspect of Donald Trump's administration. that the people he is putting in place are hurting people, and it's why Republicans are now even starting to speak out. And I want to read a little quote from the Wall Street Journal about one of those Republican lawmakers, including those most supportive of the president, are besides themselves with anxiety when you speak to them off the record between friendly acquaintances and ask how it's going. They shift, look off, shrug, you know how it's going. A GOP senator who supports the president had a blanched look. He doesn't do anything to make it easy. He shrugged. What is the meaning of the averted eyes and anxious face? It means Trump 2.0 isn't better. It means for all the talk of the new professionals in the Trump operation, they have to get used to the chaos again and write it, tempting the gods of order and steadiness. After 1 week, they concluded the first administration wasn't a nervous breakdown, and the second isn't a recovery. Instead, again, they're on a ship with a captain in an extended manic phase who never settles into soothing depression. Now, if I had to guess, I would say this. Off-the-record senator putting a couple of pieces together is probably Lindsey Graham we saw over the weekend. Lindsey Graham talk about how Donald Trump
Now, this is a job that should not be open because FBI directors have 10-year terms. FBI Director Chris Wray has 3 years left in his 10-year term, but he inexplicably decided to resign before his term was up, which had purely and only the effect of making it easier for Trump to install someone new in the job. That was nice of him. But now, thanks to Chris Wray, here we are. As January 6th pardon recipients start to get arrested for other crimes after Trump pardoned them, as one January 6th pardon recipient was killed in an altercation with police at a traffic stop yesterday in Indiana, as the Justice Department today starts to investigate its own prosecutors for having had the temerity to bring charges against January 6th rioters in the first place, let's just take this one day at a time. Let's just take a second to reflect on who Trump is trying this week to install as head of the FBI, as head of the 38,000 men and women of the nation's premier federal law enforcement agency with all of its immense power and responsibility.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice. And
that is Kash Patel, Donald Trump's pick to run the FBI, describing his plans for the second Trump administration. That was in an interview in 2023. You might have heard about that quote. You might have heard that quote. You might have also heard him describing his plans for the FBI's headquarters building in Washington, D.C. Well, hey, at least he is pro-museum. So, those are two of the relatively recent statements by Kash Patel that I think have captured people's imagination, that have received a lot of traffic since Trump shockingly named him as his choice to run the FBI. But there's been such a fire hose of news and stuff to keep up with all of these radical nominees. This 1 week thus far of really radical action by the new president and his appointees. I mean, there's been so much that, some of the truly wildly inappropriate or unqualified or at least controversial nominees like Doug Burgum at the Interior Department or Kristi Noem at Homeland Security or even John Ratcliffe at CIA. I mean, they've just been sliding through without much attention, even though they deserve attention. But, people only have so much bandwidth, right? It's understandable. It's regrettable. It's lamentable, but it's understandable. That said, for the FBI specifically, given what Trump is already doing with law enforcement and the Justice Department and the pardons of all the people from January 6th, this is just one that I feel like we can't afford to let melt into the sauce, right? Let's just look at a few other things about Kash Patel ahead of his confirmation hearings this week. Here's one thing. This is not actually the first time Donald Trump has tried to install Kash Patel in a high-ranking position in the FBI. In the final months of Trump's first term, you might remember that Trump reportedly tried to make Kash Patel FBI deputy director. That effort did not go well. Trump's attorney general at the time, Bill Barr, says he told the White House Kash Patel would be made FBI deputy director, quote, over my dead body. Bill Barr wrote in his memoir, quote, Patel had virtually no experience that would qualify him to serve at the highest level of the world's preeminent law enforcement agency. The very idea of moving Kash Patel into a role like this showed a shocking detachment from reality. And that was when Trump wanted him as the number 2 guy in the FBI, let alone the director. But okay, that's just one senior Trump administration official. Bill Barr doesn't have that much credibility with any group of Americans at this point in our political moment in America. Set aside Bill Barr. What about other Trump appointees who worked with Kash Patel? Well, Trump's deputy national security advisor, who worked closely with Kash Patel, he had this to say, quote, he's absolutely unqualified for FBI director. He is untrustworthy. It is an absolute disgrace to American citizens to even consider an individual of this nature. That's Trump's deputy national security advisor.
This is what we are up against. And this is what Republican senators are folding on, just letting them get by. They're talking off the record about how scary it is. But they don't have the courage to stand up. It's not a shock. It's always disappointing, though. But it is now upon us to call them out. And we're going to every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.